Adam Schiff and the Democrats have gone beyond corruption. This is a whole new level of insanity, a violation of civil rights and social norms and privacy rights. I'm furious. I'm shocked. This has been a really hard segment to put together. Adam Schiff and the House Intelligence Democrats have published the private phone records of an American journalist of prestige with many awards. They have published private phone records of their chief political opponent in the impeachment fight, Devin Nunes. You don't have to like either of these people, but this is a shocking level of corruption and desperation. And I got to admit, I'm furious. This is terrifying. I don't know what this means for our future. These Democrats not only know that they have allies in media, but they know that with or without them, they can publish misleading information, violate the privacy rights of American citizens and the civil rights, and the media is just going to parrot whatever that narrative is, because journalism has truly died in this country in two ways. For one, take a look at this story. Schiff says phone records show Nunes may have been complicit in Ukraine affair. Yes, Adam Schiff was spying on Devin Nunes' private phone calls and published them in a report to discredit the Republicans. There's no merit to this. There's no context. There's no proof he did anything. And there is absolutely no grounds for Adam Schiff to be spying on private phone records of Devin Nunes. Okay, fine. You want to argue the House has subpoena power and so they can look into whoever they want? Sure. What about John Solomon? He's a journalist. He's nothing to do with this. He wrote some stories that were cited by Republicans. He didn't start the Ukrainian scandal reporting. That was Politico. Yet sure enough, Adam Schiff also published the private phone records of John Solomon. And the media is not only smearing Nunes, but CNN is smearing John Solomon as well, claiming Democrats obtained phone records showing how Trump allies coordinated false narratives. Excuse me. There's no proof and there's no justification as to why the Democrats were spying on a journalist. There is no justification for this. Recently, CNN ran this overtly fake story. Giuliani associate willing to tell Congress Nunes met with ex-Ukrainian official to get dirt on Biden. Absurd. Why would CNN publish hearsay from someone they claim is corrupt? So associate wants to claim that a corrupt guy is claiming another corrupt guy, claims he met with a Republican, he's smearing an American politician. You might as well talk about that conspiracy theory involving Ilhan Omar as well. No, it's absurd. But CNN runs the story. This is on par with any absurd conspiracy theory, but for some reason CNN does it. Devin Nunes published photos in a lawsuit against CNN showing he wasn't there. He wasn't in Vienna. It's fake news. So you may be thinking, perhaps there's, I don't know. I don't know what to think. Seriously, it's hard to even explain. Why is it that CNN and these other and Yahoo just parrot the psychotic fake talking points and not criticize the fact that government officials are publishing the private details of their chief political opponents and American citizens? Let me show you why. Let me show you why. Take a look at this story from Deadline. What I'm going to show you should be obvious. It should be obvious to everyone. Vice News adds Paula Ramos as correspondent in first major Jesse Angelo hire. Seems like it's completely unrelated. Who cares if Vice News is hiring Paula Ramos? Who's that? Well, she's done some reporting for Vice News before, but I'll tell you this now. These media companies aren't even trying to hide it anymore. You see, they say, a regular contributor to Telemundo and MSNBC, by as much, Ramos is the former deputy director of Hispanic media for Hillary Clinton and a former political appointee in the Obama White House. Media is corrupt. The media has been corrupted by partisan interests. I'm not saying there's a coordinating council pushing a grand conspiracy. I'm saying that the media is overtly being run by operatives who used to work in Democrat White Houses, who previously worked for Hillary Clinton, and are now joining other savvy millennial digital media outlets. What you need to understand about what a conspiracy is, it's a top-down effort. I'm absolutely rejecting that premise. I'm saying these people are hiring each other because they're friends, because their interests align. Adam Schiff doesn't need to coordinate with anybody. He can violate your civil rights and your privacy all on his own. And he knows CNN will use that because their interests are aligned. What you need to understand about conspiracy theories is that people often say that so-and-so directly worked with so-and-so. That's not what's happening. What's happening is worse. A group of individuals know. They know that they can put out this information, violating the privacy rights of an American citizen. And rest assured, the people who share their tribal alignment will weaponize that. There is no conspiracy. It's worse. It is a group of political partisans joining these companies, hiring their friends, and then they all are just playing the same game with each other. They know what they're doing. Again, it is not a cabal of people who are spreading around plans, who have this top-down plan. No, it's worse. Political interests have infected the media and destroyed it. John Solomon, let me stop now, okay? I'm getting carried away because this is one of the most shocking stories I've seen, and it's terrifying. I will tell you what I'm seeing. There are two interests. When you have Adam Schiff pulling up the private phone records of Devin Nunes, rest assured there are two factions in our government fighting with each other and stopping at nothing to violate our institutions and our norms. And I will not stop with just Adam Schiff. I get it. Donald Trump wanted an investigation into Biden for whatever reason. They're pointing the institutions at each other. Fine. It's not leading us anywhere safe. Before I go on, though, look, if you want to support my work, go to timcast.com/donate. You can donate there. You can share this video. I also run this as a podcast on all podcast platforms. So subscribe. It's on iTunes, Apple. If you're on that platform, subscribe and follow there. It's an hour and a half. I usually stop early and do it, but this has been just so absolutely insane to me. This story from Deadline is showing us that they're not even trying to hide it. These media companies are hiring Obama White House appointees, okay? Former staffers for Hillary Clinton. That's who is working at these companies. CNN is telling you not to listen to other news outlets. That should be a red flag enough, but people buy it. My question, how did the Democrats get access to these phones? Let me show you. It's public, okay? Normally I wouldn't want to do this, but here it is. John Solomon, private phone record. Devin Nunes, private phone record. Rudy Giuliani, private phone record. That's right. They pulled the phone records for the Office of Management and Budgets. They pulled the phone records for the president's private attorney. That should be protected. But look, you can argue all of it. Why they're going after a private journalist, a private citizen, is shocking. And once again, they're using it to discredit him. Did you also know that CNN and MSNBC have been hiring former spooks? These are people who worked for the intelligence agencies who are now getting top-tier jobs working for the media. I'm not saying there's a president of the media company laughing, saying, yes, sir, thank you, sir, and conspiring. No, I'm saying they all hate the president, and they don't care about the media. They are not the government. They are not politicians. They are not journalists. They are something else. They are ideologues. They are zealots. They don't need to collude with each other. They don't need to coordinate anything. They're all aligned in their interest of subverting our democratic institutions, violating our civil rights, and targeting those who stand in their way. I know it's frustrating when people say, Tim, you're talking about conspiracies. No, it's worse. It's two different factions, and one of them is stopping at nothing. And they're getting jobs in media, and it's scary. Let me read this one from the Examiner. Schiff spying on Nunes with call records. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff spied on the top Republican on his panel by obtaining his phone records and publishing them in an impeachment report. Minority Whip Steve Scalise said on Wednesday. It raises a lot of serious questions. I want to know all of the people Adam Schiff is spying on. Are there other members of Congress that he is spying on? And what justification does he have? He needs to be held accountable and explain what he's doing going after journalists, going after members of Congress instead of doing his job. The records show calls between Nunes and President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, and calls between Nunes and Lev Parnas, a Giuliani associate now under indictment for funneling foreign money to U.S. political candidates. I find it deeply concerning at a time when the President of the United States was using the power of his office to dig up dirt on a political rival that there may be evidence of members of Congress complicit in that activity. Schiff is beyond corrupt. This is beyond corruption. And I don't think anything will be done to stop it. I think the Republicans are too pathetic to do anything about it. How long did it take for Lindsey Graham to finally demand documents pertaining to Joe Biden's involvement in Burisma? They're not going to do anything about it. And I think the proof is in the pudding. 2016. Donald Trump won. The Republicans didn't want him, but they did not rig the election in the primary. I'm sorry. They let Trump win. And then they said, well, he's the leader of the party now. What about the Democrats? Hillary Clinton, the DNC, they did cheat. We know they did. It's record. They were providing information to CNN. CNN was working with the Democratic Party to push out Bernie Sanders. And now what can we see? Adam Schiff is spying on a private citizen, a journalist no less, and his chief political rival. Let me stress that for you. You want to complain about Trump trying to get an investigation, dig up dirt on Biden? Fine, by all means. Let's talk about it. Unfortunately for you, the Democrats didn't ask a single question of their witnesses as to whether or not Donald Trump actually was concerned about Biden. They talked about quid pro quo. Didn't prove that either. But Adam Schiff pulled up the private phone records of his chief political rival in the impeachment fight. The red flags should be shocking to anybody. John Solomon, who's being smeared. Not perfect. He's had some stories that were incorrect. He quoted a guy who turns out to have been incorrect. John Solomon is not always getting every story right, nor does every journalist. And with the benefit of hindsight, we can see that some of his stories turned out not to be true. That's fine. That's normal journalism. He has won a number of prestigious awards, and now CNN is taking this information that was obtained by violating his rights and weaponizing it against him. Devin Nunes was accused by CNN with this highly dubious, nonsensical story a couple weeks ago of meeting with a corrupt politician. They're trying to smear with fake news the guy who their chief political rival. Nunes now filed a $435 million defamation suit against CNN and published photos that he was in Libya and Malta at the time. He never met with this guy. It's a shocking level of corruption. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, guys. I don't know what to tell you. These political operatives are getting in media and they're using this to target their political rivals. All right? It's the media is corrupt. The Democrats are corrupt. That's all I can say. But I will tell you this. The faction wars, whatever you want to call it, whatever's happening, it's not one-sided. Let me show you something else. From the Department of Justice. Apparently, Bill Barr is targeting Clinton, or Clinton allies, I should say. California CEO and 7 others charged in multi-million-dollar conduit campaign contribution case. It turns out somebody apparently funneled, or I believe it was $3.5 million in campaign contributions to a presidential candidate in 2016. Now they're not saying who, but reporting suggests it was Hillary Clinton. Politico reports, lobbyist known for Trump ties charged with steering illegal contributions to Clinton. George Nader, a witness in the Mueller investigation, has acted as an informal conduit between the president's top advisors and Middle Eastern interests. First, what do I find interesting? The Ukraine meddling story started with Politico. In 2017, they said a DNC operative was trying to dig up dirt on the Trump campaign and got aid from the Ukrainian embassy. Yes, a court ruled in Ukraine that was meddling. Was it a top-down Ukrainian government effort? No. Did Ukraine hack servers? No. But Ukraine was meddling. We've then seen several stories from Politico attempting to discredit this report, their own reporting. Now, when Politico is forced to admit that Hillary Clinton was receiving illegal contributions, they open it by saying a lobbyist known for Trump ties. What does Trump have to do with this? It's Trump's appointee, Bill Barr, who's going after the corruption. Why is the media doing this? Listen, I'm sick and tired of the conspiracy theorists. I'm sick and tired of listen, there are people who work at media who are trying to steer a narrative. Some of these people work with each other. To an extent, there is collusion. Conspiracy is criminal. We don't know to what extent it's going on. And I do not believe that Adam Schiff is coordinating with anybody in this. Okay, there's no conspiracy between Schiff and other people in media. There are aligned interests. People at Politico who hate Trump and instead of doing journalism, weaponize information and frame it to hurt people they don't like. It is not journalism. It is political operatives using the media to their advantage. But to suggest they're coordinating is absurd. We don't have that. What we do have is a step in that direction. And I want to make this clear. The reason why I'm repeatedly saying stop with the conspiracy, we're trying to investigate, to figure out how deep it goes, and we're starting from point A to B to C. If you jump to Z, you look nuts. We have evidence to suggest media companies have hired Hillary Clinton staffers and White House appointees. We know that former intelligence agents and officials are working at media. That's where we're at so far. Stop. We can then go from there and question why CNN and other outlets are parroting information that was obtained through the violation of a person's civil rights. That's where we're at so far. Not a conspiracy. What we need next is evidence of communications between these Democrats and these media companies. And we do have that. So we're getting close. When in 2016, Donna Brazile was feeding information to the Clinton campaign. Close, but not quite there. And I want to make sure that's clear, because when you jump the gun and assert, yes, a conspiracy, before we can lay out the documents in front of us, they will accuse you of making things up, and they're already doing it. The reason why they're going after John Solomon is because he filed Freedom of Information requests showing some of this information stands up to muster. And that means he is a particular threat. Now listen, I'm not surprised the US government would go after journalists. Of course they would. But they're not going after journalists. They're going after their political rivals now. There is no unity here. It is breaking down. Schiff targeted Nunes, and he targeted the journalists who were backing up the claims of Republicans. Somebody who did everything right, who has awards. And they are trying to destroy his career by every means available. So when CNN comes out claiming John Solomon is pushing unfounded look at this. Many of these calls occurred in April, according to the Democratic report. The same time Solomon pumped out columns in The Hill, the stories were filled with discredited conspiracy theories, etc., etc. We have the benefit of hindsight. We can look back and say some of John Solomon's reporting was imperfect. But John Solomon provided documents that need to be questioned, scrutinized, and answered for. They are now using Adam Schiff's violation of civil rights to justify or to accuse an award-winning, decorated journalist of being a conspiracy theorist. It makes its way to his Wikipedia page, where they then try to discredit him, saying that he's pushing fake news. Politico then, backs these claims up, and they smear him relentlessly. But let me remind you, John Solomon did not start this story. It was Ken Vogel of Politico. But for some reason, it's John Solomon facing the brunt. Perhaps it's because he's the one doing the digging. They then leak his private phone records, which is shockingly insane. It's just, I'm at a loss for words. Right now, Bill Barr is going after Clinton associates. It is not one-sided. I don't know where this ends up, but civil war is something that people have said over and over again. I'm sorry. I really do. I'm sitting here thinking, like, how do I explain the severity of Adam Schiff publishing this information? Because you can claim they have a right to subpoena, but to publish it, for it to be weaponized by their allies in the press, is a level of corruption I have not seen in a long time. What we need now is evidence of coordination between Democratic operatives and these journalists. And I get it, man. It's coming to a point where you can argue it's just a conspiracy theory. And I'm trying to be very careful and meticulous before asserting there's overt collusion in particular cases. But let me tell you what we have now. Former intelligence agents work for CNN and MSNBC. As reported by the Daily Caller, it's a fact. It's been known for a long time. Like, I think Clapper has a contributorship. Vice News hired a former Hillary Clinton staffer and Obama appointee. Fact. We know it's true. Adam Schiff publishes information that is then immediately weaponized by these outlets that employ these individuals. We get to a point where you can say we don't have the evidence, but we have a preponderance of the evidence. And it stands to reason that these media outlets are acting in alignment with these interests. And the corruption is there. So what happens then when the DOJ finds out that $3.5 million were illegally funneled to the Clinton campaign? Politico says, known for their Trump ties. I'm sorry. Why is it relevant? This guy may have, let's look what they say. He's indirectly, he's an informal conduit between Trump's advisors and various Middle Eastern interests, and he literally funneled millions of dollars to Clinton. We're in trouble, man. This is. I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me just clarify my previous points about conspiracy collusion. One of the biggest concerns I have is that a lot of people jump the gun with absurd conspiracy theories, asserting things that are just not true. Aliens, lizards, whatever. To claim that there are elements of the media that are aligned with political interests is obvious. To claim that there's coordination between them is a bit of a leap. But we did see Donald Brazil in Hillary Clinton's campaign. To claim that in instances of elections, impeachment, and imprisonment and the FBI, now you got to prove that these former government agents and current government actors are directly coordinating with each other. We're not there. We do know that former, operatives are hired. We know that, certain elements, new knowledge, for instance, this organization was creating fake bots in the Alabama election, and then the media just parroted it. We need to make sure we can find definitive evidence beyond just a stupid, inept media. And I'll tell you where we're at so far. They're hiring former operatives. They're hiring former intelligence agents. There you go. We're getting to that point. I don't know what to say. I don't have an optimistic outlook for the future. I don't think that the Republicans, the right, and whatever this independent space is trying to find truth, I don't know where this all goes. But I will say that, boy, do I think Adam Schiff is truly a despicable individual. To publish the records of Nunes, his chief political rival and a journalist, is just, there's no excuse for it. You will never justify that. I'll see you all in the next segment. YouTube.com/TimCastNews at 6 p.m.